undergraduate students, guiding PhD students in civil and mining engineering. Dr. Gupta has secured research grants from various research agencies. His research interests include surface hydrology, environmental pollution in river systems, and urban water management. He had published extensively in these domains, receiving over 1,000 citations. Dr. Gupta is deeply involved in digital education initiatives. He is the course coordinator for a UGC funded MOOC course that is on water resources and watershed management, which was running. This is the sixth time on the Swayam platform. He is also working on one more course on disaster risk reduction and management, which will be launched in the January 2026 semester. So Dr. Gupta has coordinated multiple short-term courses and e-content development programs under MMTTC Usmania University. A sought-after speaker, he has delivered more than 50 invited lectures at various academic forums. So in recognition of his scholarly achievements, he was confirmed with the Usmania University Vice Chancellor's Research Excellence Award in 2022. So it is our pleasure to have him here with us today. So please join in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Gupta to take us through the next part of the session. So Dr. Gupta, sir, it is over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, ma'am, for introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank the management of AV College and the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with my fellow colleagues in AV College. And we know that AV College has got a lot of had a lot of prestige in the field of education, and it's a very old college. And I also thank my friend Dr. Jagan Mohan Garu for connecting me with you people previously also, and on this occasion also, because we are in communication, and I'm also kind of having a privilege that he has taken my course and completed my SWAYAM course, I think 2-3 years back. So, and recently he was one of the participants in a teachers training program, which I conducted along with MMTTC Usmania University on e-content development and MOOCs. So we are interacting quite a lot many times. So, but then it's always good to have many fellow teachers as well. So I really thank all of you for being here. And I'm also apologize for previous last Tuesday I was supposed to give this particular talk, but somehow file corrupted and in the last moment, and then I could not do it. And then Jagan Garu was kind enough to give me another opportunity for this Saturday. So I'm here today. So now you know the topic. I will share my slide and then we can have a formal start. So please allow me to I have sent requests, so please allow me to share. Okay, the topic here we are going to touch upon, there are two important topics, though they are interconnected. Please confirm if I'm audible and my PPTs, the slides are visible.
Yes, visible, sir. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So here we are going to touch upon two important topics, interconnected topics. One is literature review, and second one is about note taking. Once we conduct literature review, we need to capture that information, and that particular process is known as note taking in this process of research. So if we go, what I am broadly going to cover this afternoon is, first of all, in the literature review, we are going to talk about definitions, purposes, importance, then variety of literature reviews classifications are there. Then we'll talk about very interesting thing, citation chaining. So there are snowball methods are there, which help us to capture the data by back reviewing or forward reviewing. Then we will talk about literature review steps. We will talk about various sources. And if time permits, I will also try to demonstrate using Google Earth. Okay, then we'll go to literature review structures and organization. We'll be talking about how we can work the various steps once we work with the literature review. Then we will talk about synthesizing and your writing literature review. We'll just give you a brief idea because that it's a literature review is a kind of Pandora box. Even I cannot say, despite having more than 20 years of research experience, I cannot say that I am perfect in literature review, though we have secured multiple research grants. We have published multiple research papers. We have also guided students for PhD as well as ME and BE. But I don't claim that, okay, we are expert. This is a learning process. So we continue to learn. Then we will talk about challenge and pitfalls. Then in the second part, we'll talk about a bit about research note-taking idea. What basically it is. Then what are the strategies to capture the data? Then different methods are there which allow us to systematically record whatever we have collected the data in the literature review. Then we will talk some of the best practices, and then last slide we will talk about summary, right? So this is broadly, I will go along. So if we start where we fit this particular terminology fit this literature review, there are 8 well-defined steps in process of research, or you can say research methodology. There are 8 important steps, and I'm sure that previous speaker have talked about from day one when Dr. Raju Janapur Reddy might have talked about basics of research. Then my other colleagues talked about data generation, data handling, then write-up part and citation part, right? So this literature review is integral part of this entire process, though it is here step number 3. But if you look around, right from step 1 to step 8, everywhere literature review has its own role to play. We'll try to talk later on what exactly I mean by that. But it's not that only in the step 3 or we have a chapter of literature review and it ends. No, right from step 1, which is defining the research area, and step 2, which is about the topic once you want to choose, to data collection methods, to once the data is generated, you want to interpret that data, right? Then data processing, then your implication or write-up part, everywhere literature review play its role. And if we pick up a paper, we can explain that particular thing very clearly. So now I just told you that, okay, it is part of every of these 8 steps. Let's try to see what exactly we mean and how it fits. If we talk about step 1, so it helps us in identifying the topic. Broadly, if just I want to give you an example, climate change. We are talking about climate change. Climate change is a very wide topic. Now, what exactly you want to do in the climate change, right? How you will know? You have to pick up the papers. You have to find out certain topics which make you interested or which are of your interest, or you feel you are familiar with those terminology. This knowledge will come after you go through literature or you read through scientific papers. Then we come to second. Now just assume you have talked about impact of climate change on water resources, right? This is the broad area, which as a person from who is running a course on water resources, it's very easy to give me this particular example. Now, in second step, I need to identify a particular research topic. Now, my topic can be impact of climate change on water resources of Narmada River Basin, or water security of our country, or I can be very specific, maybe Telangana, maybe Hyderabad. So that means it become a particular topic. Now, what has been done so far? How I will know whether someone already researched on Narmada River Basin or Telangana, or they are what kind of papers are published for water security of India? How do I know? Right? This knowledge will again come from literature review. First, I started talking about papers which talk about climate change. From there, I came on impact of climate change on water resources. Then I started talking about my study area or very specific topic of my research, literature review. This is done through literature review, right? Then literature review itself is a step. We will talk later on more detail. Then once we go to selection of this research design, or we can say methodology part. So in research design, what methods are being used, what tools and techniques are being utilized by the researcher in the field of your interest or in the field which you want to pursue, right? How do we know? We know because we will go through research papers. We already gone through from step 1 to step 3, and we have understood through that process what techniques, tools, methods are being used. And umbrella term is methodology, right? So in 4th step also, there's a use of this particular term, literature review, or you can say literature review is integral part of step 4 as well. Then we go to step 5, data gathering techniques. We decided a research design, right? We will be conducting experimental or observation or survey or secondary data, right? Various approaches are there, which are in step 4. Now, once we go to the field, how many samples will be collected? How the data will be analyzed? What are the reliability of your instrumentation? How you will validate your simulations, model, data, or analysis. All those things, what range are there, what precision are there, this all information. For that all information, we will go back to the research papers. From there, we will capture. Okay, people follow these approaches in collection of the data. Then we go to data step 6. Now, we are making use of ICT tools, computer applications, simulations, models. So many tools and techniques are there to analyze data. Statistics is there. Now, which statistical model or method or parameter will be applicable to you in your analysis? How do you know? Right? We cannot apply one particular statistics. What will be the basis of your model which you are running? This whole information will come from the literature, all in depth. So in different steps of research, we have to read the research papers differently. We'll talk about that later on, right? So once you are in Navy, you are starting your research, you just read research paper title, abstract, right? You want to understand what is the broader area. Introduction is good enough. But once you advance, you reach to step 4, 5, it's important that you study methodology. Once you collected the data, you have data processing and analysis. Your result and discussion part become important, right? So in different part of the research, we need to look into the different a set of the paper which you have identified different time differently, right? Then we go to implication and conclusion. There also we have to see where we fit. You have a research topic, you collected data, you analyze your data, you have got some results, right? You have written them. How those results fit into this broader frame of research. That also, again, you have to refer various studies that many times you will find we write according to Gupta et al., according to Reddy et al., or Reddy et al. Has told this thing, right? So all those things, these are literatures. From there, we will come. Then finally, once you want to publish your research or present your research, again, where your peers are publishing their research, which journal, which are good journals, right? And different school of thoughts are there. Which school of thought it fits, who are the editor in that kind of journals. All those things we can learn from research papers. So we can say research paper are basically a huge source, or if you read more and more paper, you can be more sure about your research and its implications. If you don't read papers, it is a trouble. Okay, so whether you have, I think many of you have already done your PhDs. So you are well aware about this importance of literature review. Some might be maybe in process of getting PhD, or you may be even guiding PhD students. Whatever the state is, if you are there, take this business of literature review very seriously. If you are guiding PhD student, tell your students that every week you come up with a research paper, and or you can suggest a research paper to your scholar and ask to read him or her thoroughly and come back and, if possible, give a presentation or at least discuss what exactly they understood by the paper and how that paper fit into their research. All those things, this literature review will help. So now let's try to define what exactly we mean by literature review. I have already told you that literature review is very important, but then first we need to understand broadly what exactly we mean by literature review. So I already emphasized it's a third stage, or it fits at third stage broadly, but then it's an integral part of everywhere. But then if we want to literally define it, so basically we are trying to look for both published and unpublished documents which are product of academic research, right? Newspapers and blogs and Wikipedia and so many sources of information is there. Majority of those sources we don't call them academic source of research, literature, right? They are non-academic because they don't involve peer review process. Here, we prefer to have, we will later on talk about different sources of literature. There, we will make distinct. I'm not saying that we cannot make use of newspaper articles. Like I work on urban floods. For me, to get which part of city are getting flooded, what is the situation, newspaper is very important part. But for a person from chemistry or biology, it may not be, right? So you have to well define. So basically, selection of available documents, both published and unpublished, on the topic of your interest, where all kind of information will be there, which includes the various research ideas, how they produce the data, what kind of data they produced, how they prove or disprove idea or hypothesis, theory, right? So all those points will come into this literature review, because people through research prove or disprove. They put forward their thought process, back it with the data. And once thought process is there, idea is there, data backup is there, they try to prove or disprove, right? This is what happens. So in this process, scientific, and then once it is done, they go for scientific publishing. You might be aware about the different type of journals. We talk about subscription based of the journals, right? Where to download a paper from Elsevier or Springer or Valley, you need to pay money, or your institute need to subscribe that journal, right? It's a subscription based journal. Then we have open access journal. Majority of the subscription based journal now started opting for open access model, where previously the audience need to pay the money. We go to theater, we need to buy the ticket. So subscription-based model work in that particular pattern. Now, editor or the author, like I have paid the money and you get access free of cost, right? So that become your open access. They are a kind of money is involved from your side. And for good journals, it could be few thousand US dollar, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 US dollar, euro or pound, whatever currency they follow. Then we get another category, predatory journals, which many times you find Indian International Journal of ABCDEFG, International Journal of any name, right? Many of them are predatory journal. So people opt to publish, and it's very important that once we are doing literature review, we go to standardized journals which are indexed by Scopus, Web of Science, and there are so many indexing services are there, right? So if you want to go and watch a movie, you will go to good theater, right? Same way, so your experience will be good, right? So same way, if you want to read a research paper, download them from, or they should be published on good platforms, they should be indexed, those journals should be indexed with some well-known indexing sites, right? So then literature review is very critical component of any research project, right? From now, once we say research project, we mean everything what we do in research, whether it's a PhD project, whether I am applying for a funding, whether you are writing a research paper, everything is a project, right? So everywhere it's a critical part. So literature review involves a comprehensive examination of existing scientific literature, right? I pointed out published and unpublished, right? In majority of the cases, unpublished, the people who reach to some stature, right, who are connected with the peer group, they can have access to unpublished research. But majority of us or young people, they are dependent on internet or Google Scholar or similar websites. They can have access to only published scientific literature. Okay, so basically literature review is a process which involves a comprehensive examination of existing scientific literature, which should be related to your topic. Now, just mind it. In the 2 hours, when I will complete this talk, several hundred of research papers might be published across the world. We cannot read them. So our focus should be on the topic which we want to investigate or around it. If we want to understand the topic initially, and later on we have to become more and more specific. We start broadly. It's a kind of pyramid. Once we start initially in our research process, your literature review will be broad because you want to understand so many things. You want to identify a field where you want to conduct the research, or you want to choose a topic of research. Slowly it will narrow down. Okay, so it's always this kind of process. So related to your topic, highlighting the current state of knowledge, identifying the gap, providing a context to your research. We will talk about these terms, subsequent slides, what exactly we mean by them. Instead of presenting new experiment, see, literature review never talks about new experiment. What we talk, which is already done by someone else, or maybe it may be your previous research, which is academically published, right? So we don't talk about any new experiment. Literature review always organizes, evaluates, integrates what has been published. That's what I'm trying to say, right? It helps researcher to see bigger picture, where your field of research fits, which school of thought it fits. If I say climate change, now there are two pertinent group of thoughts for climate change in terms of global warming, because we know that climate change is consequence of global warming. Now, global warming might be because of emission of CO2 by the human being by our actions. That is one school of thought. There's another school of thought. They say it may be related to solar insolation. Right? Now, by literature review, you will opt one school of thought, or you will compare and you will try to see what type of research you want to pursue. You don't believe on human role, you want to go natural, you want to, or you see very clearly that vehicles pollution, thermal power plant pollution, CO2 emissions are very much visible. You thought in that school, so you can decide to go that side. So literature review help you to put your thought process in proper context. Then I already pointed out academic publishing process. So academic publishing process is the way of putting the scientific outcomes of studies into scientific literature. Once we publish our research, after publishing only, it will become part of literature for other people or our team, right, who want to study research papers. Then literature review, once we are conducting, it can be having two important aspects. Either we conduct literature review as a part of study, where through literature review, we want to understand these straps of research, or we want to create review of the existing literature in this field. Just I told impact of climate change on water resources. Now, I want to understand what has been done so far in this particular field of research, maybe in context of our country or globally or for Telangana, or if there are many papers which talk about impact of climate change on cities, availability of water resources, I can pick up those papers and I can study them and I can write a review of these papers. That become our second part, review article. Otherwise, if you are reading research papers to understand overall picture of the field, what type of research is being done, by whom it is being done, what methods are being followed, what kind of data is being generated, how many samples are minimum required, all those things you are trying to do. That means you are shaping your research based on scientific literature. That is one way of doing literature review. That, or you say a literature review is important for that particular part. Or otherwise, if you are established researcher, you can write review of existing research. That become another process, right? So a good literature review is an argument that is more purposeful than a simple review of relevant literature. So always we should try to critically analyze literature rather than, so once you critically analyze this one, you will find so many interesting aspects which are not touched, or you wanted to do, but then you realized that people have already touched it, right? So it becomes very pertinent. So many times people get confused with the literature review, and they try to create, so they will pick up 10-20 papers and they will write, okay, Gupta et al has done this one, Reddy has done this one, Rao has been done this one, right? Sharma has done this one, right? That is not that is a description of study. That is not the review. Review is a bit different. I will give you a few examples of good, excellent, and bad reviews. It's not just list of the studies. We synthesize that particular information, what is being done, why it is being done. All those we try to extract. Then it is not a summary. Sometimes people will just summarize the outcome of those studies. Some people will just create a list that, okay, Gupta et al have talked about impact of climate change on water resources of Hyderabad city. Sharma has talked about Delhi. Reddy has talked about Visakhapatnam, something like that. No, right? So it is just not a summary. It's not your descriptive list. It is way beyond. It is an entire process to understand what is being done in your field of research. then it's not a survey of everything ever written on the subject. Sometimes students come up with a very difficult question for them that, okay, sir, I went to Google Scholar and I find there are 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 papers are there on the subject. How can I find out? Right? That is a genuine question. But then you have to identify the papers using keywords which are relevant to you. And then you need to have certain riders or some screening methods. You need to apply some filters. So you can select a few. So no one is asking you to do literature review and whatever published from maybe we started somewhere printing and scientific research, maybe I think 100 years at least now we have papers, right? No one is asking you. It may be last 5 years, it may be 10 years, it may be 20 years, or it may be some important papers since last 100 years, right? We have to decide what exactly we want to do, because there are different type of literature reviews are there, which we want to do, right? So what exactly literature review do? Just to summarize, it presents you acknowledgement that you are not first to tackle this issue. It is research is being done, but there are obvious gaps are there. Certain things are there which is not done so far, and you want to touch upon that particular part. You want to fill that particular gap by your scientific research, right? So literature review is always reminder, right? So we always say that people get ego, right? Now, if we put ourselves into prospect, we will find that, okay, we stand nowhere. So same way, by literature review, we realize that the field of research is vast, and then our research is a small, tiny contribution. We should not get ego. This is a kind of reminder to us. So there are variety of purposes of conducting literature review. First of all, we want to establish that what is being done on this particular topic, what is known, what is unknown. Then we want to do what are the relevant sources, where from we can get the information, because you can find out various journals, where from, which are, you know, being all people are from academic fraternity, you know that for majority of these subjects, majority of the topics, they are separate journals are there, right? If I'm saying water, so for water resources, water journal is there, water research is there, and variety of the journals are there, hydraulics, hydrology, so many are there, right? So we can learn about that one. Then we can synthesize the information by integrating and analyzing various prospective findings. What is found by the researcher so far? We can try to understand. That means we can try to see where our thought process fits. Then critically evaluate the literature, assessing the quality, credibility, and relevance of each source. Now, this becomes very important, right? I already pointed out about subscription-based, open access, and predatory journals. And you can find that there are some good papers and there are some very bad papers, right? You should always, once you are doing literature review, once you download a paper or you are reading a paper, you should try to see where it is published, right? Indexing, impact factor, who are the people, from which country it originate. If I ask you, would you like to read a paper published by Pakistan, Afghanistan, or Bangladesh? I'm not saying that some people are not doing good research there, but definitely we consider them inferior to us. What is our benchmark? Maybe US, Europe, China, Taiwan, Korea, Japan, right? They are doing good research. So our benchmark, right? So by conducting this literature review, we can find about these quality papers, the credibility of the journals, credibility of the authors, all those things we can understand. Then by doing so much synthesis of the information, we can find out the knowledge gap. That is the most pertinent things, and it relates with your step number 2 in research. Because once you want to frame a research question, once you want to identify a research problem, then definitely what you need to do, you need to find out what is being done so far and what is their recommendation, what is their lacunas. From there, we can find out a research question for ourselves. Or there could be methodological problems in their study. You can identify and then you can try to improve them. So all those things is known as knowledge gap, and literature review is the process which help us into this particular thing. Then avoid duplication. If people, you did not find any knowledge gap, you see through literature review that everything is done perfectly, then why you need to conduct that research? So that duplication can also be avoided if you realize that already on this topic or in this study area, lot many study exist. So you better change the topic, you better change the study area or change the method, whatever fit. Okay. Then refine your research questions. Literature review will help, and we should always read paper, refine, write our research question, read more paper, write multiple steps we have to do. So then final our outcome will come. Okay, then we can talk about once we want to conduct our research, how it, I just pointed out about two school of thoughts in climate change or global warming. Now, where you are fitting. When you started, you may not have thought of school of thought, but later on, once you did your literature review, you realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and it fit in this particular school of thought. Or whether your research, through your research, you are going to contradict, or you are trying to override someone's research, or you are going to support someone's research. All those things through literature review, you will realize. Then demonstrate how research fits into broader scholarly conversation, where your research, whether how big line you are drawing in existing line, that also you will realize. Then build understanding of key debates, trends, methodology, how 1950s, what methods people used, what methods used in 2000, what method used in 10, 20, 25. They keep changing. We are getting more precise machines. Our models are changing, right? Now, if you want to publish your research, journal is asking, what is your novelty? What special you have done? For that, it's very important that we should have full knowledge. What are the recent trends? What should we do? What should not do? Or some approaches was there in the previously, in between people stopped them, but you find maybe some result was there or some method was there. At that time, computation facility was not so good. Now we have got huge computational facility. Can we conduct that kind of experiment now and make use of our sophisticated computing facility to come to the next step, right? All those things you can do after literature review. Then inspire new direction, then establish significance and originality of your study. Once you know what is already being done, you will avoid the duplication. That means you're doing something new. Then enhance the credibility of your work. If you are thorough in literature review, definitely credibility of your work will be higher, because you know what to do, what not to do, how to do, how not to do. Then what is the importance? So it identifies a research gap, I already emphasized, prevents duplication, it refines research questions, read more papers, and then you will come to this particular stage. Then informs the methodology. Then you are established the context, regional, school of thought, current trends, all those things are context. Then you are building theoretical frameworks. What are the theoretical basis of the research in your field? How two molecules interact, how metabolism happens in animal. There are some theoretical framework, and by literature review, you will realize where in which theoretical framework your research fits. Then supports analysis and interpretation. Then enhance the credibility. I already pointed out, and this is the importance. That was the purpose. Now, there are different type of literature review processes are there. Normally, literature review is a generic term. And most of the theses, most of the dissertations, we will find a separate chapter of literature review, or it will be integral part of your introduction, right? So it's a generic term where we try to talk about how this particular topic evolved, what is done so far, and what are the knowledge gap. If we just do for thesis and this thing, this is our simple literature review. Then we can go for theoretical literature review, which again overlap with your literature review. But here we just try to talk about the theories, two different. Now you picked up 2, 3, 4 different theories. Just I gave you example of a theory which says that human-induced CO2 emission is responsible for climate change. Other school of thought, solar insolation. Other school of thought is there. This climate change is pertinent. It is always there. In the past, it was there. Now is there. So you pick up all the theory in a field and go around and write them. So it becomes your theoretical review. Then we have narrative. Here we talk about qualitative summary of existing research on a topic. We don't go to the data. We try to go around how subject evolved over the period of time and how people have identified new areas. All those things we try to talk in narrative. Is a basically description of evolution of your research, and it give you a new field, because we will start talking from old to moderate, middle period to recent one. So it will tell you how things evolved over the period of time. You will get new ideas, or you will see where the trend is going now. Then we have systematic reviews. In the systematic reviews, we try to talk about just you picked up a topic, right? And you discuss about all aspects of that topic. Last year, we published a paper on lithium, right? Lithium, you know, it's a very much sought after this energy mineral, right? So that paper got almost, I think, now 65 or 70 citation within a year, right? So now in that one, we systematically reviewed all different aspects of lithium. What is the origin? What is the distribution? What kind of geological setup this mineral occur? What are the different applications? What are the different technology to extract that mineral? What are the environmental implication of that mineral? This kind of review become a systematic review where we touch upon majority of the aspects which we know. Then we have meta-analysis. Now, I told you we published a paper on lithium isotope. Now, if we take the statistics, how many papers are published on lithium, which different aspect talk about, one may be talking about geological origin, distribution, what kind of geological setting is there. There could be a set of research paper. Other paper may be talking about energy related, different type of batteries. Another may be environmental impact, right? How many studies are there, from which country, from which university, right? If we try to put together all this kind of statistics, we call it meta-analysis. It's research of the research. Okay, where from studies are being coming. It really helps you to find out who are the now stalwart in the field, who are working on which type of topics. It becomes your meta-analysis. Then you have scoping review. So basically, youngsters, or if you are venturing in a new area, you will screen through so many research papers. You will try to realize what are the basic these things. So broad understanding is your scoping. Then we have rapid review. So you already have very good idea of so many things, but recent ideas you want to know, or a particular part of that particular field you want to know, right? You will have very refined keywords. Then it will become your rapid review. You will not spend too much time to read so many papers. You will just find out some key papers which you are looking for. So like once we go for our interpretation of result discussion part, we always go for rapid review. Our result is telling us something. We want to support that result by relevant literature. So it's a kind of process where rapid review, already you have set of papers which you've gone through for your research, but then your result is saying something. For that, you want to find some literature. It will become your rapid review. Then umbrella review. So many different aspects are there you want to cover, right? Multiple reviews, multiple ideas. It will become your umbrella review. Then sometimes we use another term, critical review, right? So you look, someone published a book, someone published a research paper. Now you will go and try to find out what is missed in that paper, what weakness they have, right? It's not about appreciating something, finding out. And in science, this is integral part. Why? Because after finding out what is left, what is not done properly, science evolved to next step. So critical review always help us, right? So to find out what are the gaps, what are advancements, and how these advancements are leading to another direction. All those things done through critical review. So this is the comparison of these different type of literature review methods, right? You can go through later on. I have already shared the PDF of file, right? Now we come to another interesting aspect, which is about finding the literature. Now we use a term, citation chaining. Now what exactly we mean? We find out one paper, and from that one paper, we try to find out more papers, right? So sometime you are searching for a paper and you find one interesting paper. Now this interesting paper become your seed paper or key paper. And now you will go to reference list, or you will go who has cited this, right? There are various ways are there. From that paper, how you will proceed. That is your citation chaining. Now it has two ways. One is backward chaining, other is forward chaining. So we'll try to understand. So now I'm just giving you a sense of one of my research, right? Almost now 12-13 years back, I published this paper, and this paper is well received, well cited paper. You can see it is 275 citation as of now, right? So that means almost every year I get 15 to 20 citation of this particular paper. Okay, so now I will make use of this paper to demonstrate you what exactly we mean by forward chaining or backward chaining or snowball, forward snowball or backward snowball. Now, in this paper, we can see we have cite, we have cited by, and we have related articles, right? And this is what the paper, okay? And this paper also got a reference list. This is how a paper is there, right? On the website, we will go at the end of the paper, we will have reference. If you go to Google Scholar or Science Direct, you will find the title of the paper and all this information. This is there, right? Now, in this backward snowballing, what we do? We had this reference list. We have this kind of information. We have this kind of information. Both informations are there. In the backward, the citation chaining, what we do is basically we go to the reference list of your seed article. Now, what article I showed you in the previous slide, I am considering it as a seed article. I just want to go and see what is the topic, the role of mega dams on in reducing sediment fluxes. So basically, I'm talking about dams and how they impact sediment load in the rivers and their transportation to sea. This is the broader aspect of this particular paper. Now, I just want to see what type of research is being done in this particular field, right? So if I make use of this paper and just go to the reference list, previous all the research or related research, which is published at that point of time in 2012, just mind it, right? Or before it was submitted or accepted, whatever published, it is cited in the reference list. Even some of the upcoming paper which are in press may be there in the list. So it will become your backward chaining. That means reference list, right? So basically in the backward chaining, we go and see bibliography or references of the scientific literature, published literature, or in process of publication, that kind of literature. It become your backward review. Now you can see I have so many, maybe I think almost 50 or more citation may be there in this paper. So starting from Abbas and Subramanian, right? All these paper I have cited. So he is my PhD supervisor from IIT Roorkee. V. Subramanian is the PhD supervisor of my supervisor, right? So all this process we have captured who has done research on that particular topic, right? If we do in this way, it's a backward chaining. Whatever I have cited are being captured by me through literature review is a backward chaining, backward snowballing. Snowball, I think you know that how to grow oversized, right? Then how to proceed for a backward this one. I already showed you a paper, right? That is your seed article. Go to the reference list. I showed you previous slide. Then apply the inclusion criteria. Now, how to this apply inclusion area? Which papers you want to? From here, you just want to have a paper, papers which published after 2000 or 2005, or you want to have only Indian rivers, or you want to have the studies where dams are mentioned. You have to have certain criteria, because otherwise there itself is 50 papers and it's difficult to read every paper, right? So some criteria, some screening, some rider we apply. Then we will download those papers, or we will try to get the access of those papers. Some paper may not be accessible in the backward chaining. That is the problem, because some paper may be long back published and author may be have cited, and sometimes this seed article itself may be older. Okay, so always try to see some criteria, then you modify your criteria. Okay, then if we want to talk about your what are the key points? What is the purpose? Purpose is to find out what is done so far. Once that literature came, what are the key terminology people used? What are the method used in the field historically? You can come up to, right? You can have iterative process by chain of reference backward. I published a paper. I gave a list of references. Then you can pick up one paper from there, which you find most interesting. You can go to the literature review. Now you can make it as a seed, this one, and then go back. Then you find, so sometime if in some field, this kind of research really help. Then documentation, it really help you to choose old to new to old, or some areas, some river basins, or whatever way you want to conduct your research, it will help you, right? Then now let's talk about forward chaining. Now we understand what is the backward chaining, right? In forward chaining, we do things little differently. Now what we do, let's have an example and then we will go back. So now this paper is published, it is cited by 275 and related article. Now these are two keys for me to do forward snowballing or forward citing, right? So I will click on that cited by 275 this one, you even in Google Scholar, you even can have criteria that which published in this year, last 5 years, you can choose by yourself. So these all studies are citing my paper. Now you can find out where they published, when they published, who published, for what reason they cited my paper. From again, you can apply criterion and those things you can. So one is you cited by, right? Second is your related articles. You can click on the related articles and you can find out. Now you see, this is the 2020 article. Okay. In the same thing, previous also, you can see 2017, 2022, 2018. These in the forward citing, you will find the literature which are citing you or related article in the same field may not be citing you, but they will be the latest research. In the backward, it will be the list of reference. That means those research are already published in the field and you will not get new data. So major difference is that in the backward, you will get what is cited by that paper, and in the forward, you will find out who are citing this particular research or new papers. Okay, so this is these are the related articles. Previous one is citing that particular research. So how it works? We start set selection. Keywords you choose, then you will find out that particular paper, then you will screen and you will repeat that particular process. So same way here, what we did, we find it out, then we will screen. There what we did, we will find out some paper and then we screen. Here also we do similarly. Now from these papers, which are suitable to me, I will go. Once I select this, just assume I have selected this paper. I can go to the literature review. I can go to the reference list of this paper. Again, that will be backward, right? If I go to the studies which are citing this one, now you see impact of 1.5 degree global warming on natural and human system cited by 2357. I had ego that my paper cited by 275. Now this paper published in 2018 cited by 2500. That means is a highly recognized research or very much relevant or emerging field, right? So forward snowballing will always help in this way. Now, what are the advantages of forward? So it includes latest research. It complement the database by the backward one. You have created what is done in the past. Forward one, what is being done now? What are the emerging areas, right? And it allow you to have a very specific topic. So you can precisely select what method, what paper you want to, because old research may not have previously so much sophistication, but now latest research definitely have sophistication, right? Now, how to make use of effective? Start with high quality, highly cited and research seed articles. I just gave you example 2,500 cited by that study cited by those many. So that means it's a good paper. Or you find a paper in Nature and Science and see who are citing them, or you find a article in your field of research from a big, very nice journal or from a very well-known researcher, his or her latest research, right? This is what we have to do. Then track your process carefully to avoid including same article multiple times. Use reference management tools. You already have learned about reference management tool, right? And then in summary, forward snowballing is highly effective evidence-based method. What is being done so far? Let's test all those things. It worked. Now we come to another part of this particular lecture, which is your steps in literature review. So any question, any doubt so far, please let me know. Okay. Once we start to work on a topic, right? We need to follow certain strategies, or we have to have certain steps or stages, whatever you want to call, to pass through. So that means you can reach to some good, you can identify some good papers. You can refine your ideas. You can find out the important information which you are looking for, right? So how we proceed? So first of all, we start by your research questions, because we have to mind, we have done literature review, and through literature review, we have identified one research area. Then we have identified a research problem. Now we have to define what exactly is our research question or research statement, because advanced stage of the literature review will go around that particular topic. You cannot randomly throwing stones or making efforts, because the endless is like sea, and you want to take a glass of water, and you feel that by taking few glass of the water out from the sea, you will empty the ocean. It's not possible. The field of literature is huge, even in your specific area. So you need to have a pertinent, very clear-cut questions. Around that question, you have to build your literature review. That means you have to find out the relevant papers. Then conduct a comprehensive search. You can make use of, if you your library subscribe journals, you can go to library. Otherwise, go to Google Scholar, right? Or if you want to have a particular journal, you go to that journal website, and using keyword, you can search the papers, right? Whatever way you want to do, you can do. So you have to conduct a comprehensive, and sometimes we should not depend on one keyword, because in the field, people use some common words, some jargons, right? So you need to be smart enough to identify what are the key terminologies are used in your field. So far, I can very proudly say, whenever I struck in my research, I want to find out a research paper which support my research, I am able to find, because I don't leave till I don't find a paper which is relevant to my point of argument. So you have to do very thorough, very comprehensive research for your supporting, and especially once you're writing paper, once you are responding to a reviewer comments, sometimes it becomes very critical. Then third is, once you have downloaded or you have identified many papers, which are the important one, you have to identify. And again, just mind it, I already pointed out, the credibility is very important. Which journal, impact factor, indexing, who are the authors, when this paper is published, how many citations are there. So many criteria are there to help you, and how, what kind of keywords they are there, what are the highlight of that particular paper, right? Why people are citing that particular paper. Sometimes you will find a very highly cited paper, but they may be citing that paper for some controversial topic, just to refer that, okay, they have talked about something and there's nothing related. So you need to really go through and try to find out. Then once you identify so many papers, you need to go for organizing. And for organizing, you can make use of EndNote, Zorito, Mendeley, and RefWork, and so many this referencing management systems are there. Reference managers are there. They really help. And many of them are free, or you can get their pirated versions. Like I used initially EndNote. Now we stopped using because we use multiple systems and libraries are not updated. And once we open in the different system, it creates problem. So now we ask our scholars, you send us, we will edit this one. We will not change the reference list because there's another kind of problem. Okay. Then once you have all this information, you have selected paper. Now I can point out another important thing here. Sometimes our young friends, our students ask us, sir, how many papers should I read? There's a no thumb rule. It depends on your field of research. It depends how much time you want to dedicate towards your research. It depends on issue you are going to handle. There's a no thumb rule. You have to judiciously see how many paper will help you to understand, and every phase of the research, you may require different papers. So we can never say 5 paper, 10 paper, 20 paper, 100 paper, nothing. Okay. In my systems, you can find thousands of papers because we just download, read, and just make use of them or just ignore them if they are not relevant. Okay. Then once we write our literature, the next step is that edit, and just mind it. Like, this is seriously complicated part, writing literature review, because you need to plan what exactly you want to write, how it connect with your research question, whether you want to start from old to new, whether you just want to focus in research in last 5 years. But then somewhere you have to mention that this is a field of research where much research is being done. How you want to say that one? So you have to very thoroughly understand all these aspects. Okay, so this is all about that description. You can go through later on. Now, what are the different sources? There are a variety of the ways where we can get all of the papers or literature. Or literature review doesn't mean that we are just reading papers. It can be diaries, it can be videos, it can be blogs, it can be many, many things. Okay, so literature means anything which is published, unpublished, and backs our research. Okay, so primary source, most pertinent and most reliable, is your research paper and research articles, because they pass through peer review process. If it's a predatory journals, international journal which published from Nalakunta or Ramantapur or Tanaka, I don't know. Okay, that kind of journals, they are predatory journals. They don't have peer review process. But then remaining, whether it's subscription based or open access, they have peer review process. And the paper which will pass through more stringent peer review process, quality will be much more better. Okay, so always go for the articles which are published in standard journals, or the journals which are popular in your field of research, well received in your field of research. Then thesis and dissertation, because the data which come in research paper, they first come in the thesis and dissertation. But then I always take the data in the thesis and dissertation with a little bit pinch of salt, because once we write paper from the same data, always there will be so many modifications. But then still they are primary source. Then field notes and observation. If it's your research, you're working in the lab, you have noted everything, that is your primary source of the information, because it is giving you detail of your experiments or your observations in the field. Okay. Then interviews and oral histories. In many cases, now we say that, okay, what Indira Gandhi talked, what Jawaharlal Nehru talked, what Vajpayee talked, right? We don't have research paper on that one. But if we want to make use of what they have said in certain context, right? Now just assume I want to write a research paper on digital payment system or UPI. So I can always go back and see or refer the video of P. Chidambaram, where he said that in a country where vegetable vendor, how they will use this one, right? So if we want to say that how it evolved, we can always refer them. So they can also become a primary source. Then your review articles. Why they are secondary source? Because they review the previous published papers. So review articles are review of published papers. So that's why they come, because they don't publish any first-hand data. Okay, what politician has said, what leader has said, what someone has said is a first-hand account. If you quote someone, it will become secondary. Okay, so review article always cite, quote, published research. Books are not source of first-hand investigations. They are maybe experience, collections, or other people's research we write in a systematic manner. So that's why they are secondary source. Then newspaper and magazines. If something relevant in your field, if you don't get information and you want some statistics, in some fields it's highly useful, other fields not. Then your documentaries and films are there. Like I told, videos in the primary source, right? Documentaries are made by someone on someone, so they become secondary source. Then your encyclopedias are there, like including Wikipedia. But then there are always debates how accurate those informations are, right? Because people's bias is there in secondary source. Always there are scope of biases. While writing review article, I don't like someone, I ignored his or her papers and I cite others papers. So there's a scope of bias, right? Same thing happens in the documentary. I want to show a leader very great, I will just ignore all the weak side. Or I want to show a weak side of a leader, I will just ignore all the contributions. So they can be always debatable. So that's why be very careful. Then we have tertiary sources, which are based on primary, secondary sources, and then they just make use of secondary, tertiary information, right? So, okay, so you can have textbooks. Now, we have research article. Research article can be used to write a book, authored book. And for school students, we will refer those books, right? So it becomes tertiary source. Then almanacs are there, websites are there, variety of databases are there. All of them are tertiary source of literature. Then we have gray literature. Why we call them gray literature? Because they lack peer review process. Any government report, there's no peer review. There could be a supervision of the officer, but is not scientifically not reviewed, not reviewed by independent sources. In literature, in the academic review process, people are independent of the author. But here, I wrote a report, my officer, right, or my subordinate write a report, I will review. We are related. So that's why we call it gray literature. Government reports, conference papers, your working papers, your thesis and dissertation. See, I told that I always take thesis and this thing with pinch of salt because they are not published. And in publication process, what I wrote in my PhD thesis and what I published in research paper, data are same, but the arguments are totally different. Why? We evolve. In thesis, there will be no peer review process. Examiners will give some comments on the weaknesses here and there. They will never ask you to edit thoroughly. They will not go to the merit, demerit of so many things. They will just have a overall quality assessment. But research papers are different. Then archived materials are there, letter and diaries. Recently, there's a in the parliament debate now, current government is citing so many letters of Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi, right? So they are becoming archived material because now they are being opened to public. Public is scrutinizing, leaders are scrutinizing those materials. Then your official records are there. Now, if we just want to write a research, India's response during COVID and COVID vaccine and all those things, we have to depend on government reports, right? Then photographs and artifacts. Many images become really like they are images. You go to Vietnam War or you go to Bhopal gas tragedy or sometimes some floods, some incidents. Those photos always become some kind of sources or reminders. Then your visual and multimedia sources are there, image, photographs, audio recording, video recording. Then there are another source of information always in literature is personal communication. Now, I'm doing something and I'm not able to understand or I want some comment with a senior person. I will write an email or I will discuss with that person. So that will become personal communication. Sometime in the research papers, you find this particular term, personal communication. Okay, so there could be multiple sources, but then primary sources are always good. right? Now let's come to the another part, which is your structure. Once we write literature, it has got three important +1 parts. First of all is introduction. Second is your body. And third is your conclusion, right? So we will start our literature review with putting certain lines, maybe an opening statement. Then we will go around that one. Then we will start writing the different research done, there are citations, right? And then based on that one, we will conclude something. It will be a totally thorough process. And at the end, citations. Okay. So if we want to go more detail, in the introduction part, we will define the topic. Okay. So if I am saying impact of climate change on water resources, in my literature review introduction, I will first define what exactly I mean by water resources, what I mean by climate change, and how it is linked. I will establish that context, right? Second topic itself is establish region point of view for reviewing the literature. So once I connect climate change and its impact on water resources, it becomes my background. Then third is explaining the organization. Okay, ignore this one. This is not related. Then state the scope or depth of the review. In research, we talk about scope, limitation, and delimitation terminology. Scope is that what we intend to do. Limitation is that at the end of the research, we had some scope. We wanted to do something, but we could not do because of variety of reasons. That become our limitation. But then there's another term, delimitation. What we don't meant to do, right? So if I want to investigate Hyderabad, right? Okay, so whether Hyderabad means GHMC area or what, I have to define, right? But it establishes that I definitely don't want to do anything which is beyond Hyderabad's GHMC limits. Or I can define a time period and I can say, okay, I will do whatever data generated in 25, 26, not before, not after. It becomes delimitation, right? Then we can talk about current situation, information, history, progress on the topic. If you go to the paper which I showed, I start from early. Many times I start from how humans started impacting. Okay. And then I go to recent. So everywhere you have to have your own style of writing. Then methods and standards, which methods are being used, which are popular, which are upcoming, all those things we can write in the introduction. Then what to cover in the methodology body part, offers conclusion about which pieces about better considered. Now, through introduction, you set up a tone. Now, in the main body, you will start talking about the papers which you have identified. You will screen them, you will evaluate them, and you will synthesize their information, and that has to be kept in the main body part. Okay. Then in the conclusion part, we have to summarize, right? What is our understanding? And we have to identify knowledge gaps. Because one of the interesting aspect of literature review, it helps you to find out the knowledge gap. It find out to put your study in the context, right? And in conclusion, we have to point out all those things. That, okay, our study from literature review, it is evident that currently our understanding on this particular topic in this particular area is limited. Hence, this study aim to take. Now see, from here, we venture into aims and objectives. So then once we want to do our literature review, now there are a variety of ways how we organize. We can go chronological from recent paper to old paper, or old paper to recent paper, or decadal. what is published 2020 onwards, what is published between 2010 and 20, what is published between 2000 and 2010, what is published between 1975 and 2000. Some kind of categorization we can do of our papers. And because our emphasis here should be the latest paper, but then it will depend on your field of research. In chemistry, biology, electronics, computer sciences, many fields, things are changing in 6 month, 1 year, 2 year period. So you have to have always latest. But in my field, in geosciences, we can always go 10, 20, 30 years back. Things don't change drastically, except some technological applications or where some fields are there where things are changing fast. Okay, so we can go for chronological organization of our literature, whether it's making use of them, your reference manager, or once you are writing them also, you can start from old, some basic summary, how it evolved from 1950s to 1975 or 2000, and then 2000 to 10, 20, and 25. You can write more detail in recent years. Then classical studies, we can make use. I always like to always refer some classical studies which are basis of the research in this particular field. You can identify some studies which are classical or which are done by stalwarts, which are highly cited as your classical studies. Okay, then you can have topical or thematic organization. Within one theme, there could be some paper which are really good for introduction. Others are good for description of your study area or methodology. Others are good for result and discussion. Some are very good in conclusion. Others are giving good titles, good abstract. Some are very good in tabulation of the data, right? So same studies can be classified into different ways based on how you want to make use of them. Then inverted pyramid organization you can do, where you can start from broader perspective. I already pointed out, like larger area to a very refined one. Water resources, impact of climate change on water resources across the world, across the Asia, across the India, across the Telangana, across the Hyderabad pyramid. There will be very few study on Hyderabad, and there will be huge number of the studies on global, right? So pyramid approach also we can follow. So this is your choice, how you want to proceed. Okay, so we have 4 these interesting components. Once we are doing literature review, find it, manage it, use it, and review it. Okay. So once we go to find it, what we need to do? We need to talk about knowing the literature types. We have already discussed. Variety of the sources are there. Variety of journals are there. Either studies are reporting what we say your first-hand information, original research contribution, or it can be review article. Multiple things are there. So first you have to identify, or some studies are case studies, or some studies talk about certain phenomena, certain time periods. You have to identify what kind of literature you are looking. Then use available resources. Now we should not dependent only on one source. You go to Google, Google has its own bias. In Google Scholar, also you should use, try to search papers, changing time periods, changing keywords, go to the forward snowballing, backward snowballing, right? We have to make use of the resources, we have to make use of the ideas. Then on your search skills, I already pointed out, so far there's no kind of paper which I could not find. People, the beauty in the science is that millions of people are doing research, and at least few thousand are working on your area of research. I have already worked, and probably several thousand, several 100,000 paper exist. And definitely few hundred, few tens of paper will be on your topic. So, but your searching skills, your combination of keywords, combination of your writers will make sure that whether you find the paper or not. It all depends on you, how you proceed. Then manage it. Once you have identified paper, you download them. Reading efficiently. Till today, I have always feel once I start reading a paper, some of the papers are like, basis of the research for us. We read them and we realize, oh, it is written in this, and I never noticed previously. This happens very common with everyone. Once we are reading a research paper, our mind will go America or Russia or anywhere, right? We will jump around our personal problems and everything will go around. So read papers. Once you identify papers which are really relevant to you, read them thoroughly, read them multiple times, or at least read abstract. Once you are doing your introduction, read the introduction thoroughly. Okay. Then keep track of the references. Sometime it happens with, now also it happens with me. Sometime I will download a paper and then I will lose track of it. Okay. Though it's there in my pen drive or in my system, because I don't remember the exact the title or how did I save it, right? So once you are using reference manager, this problem will go up. You will upload everything in your library. Or sometime it happens in my home, I have multiple copies of same paper. In my office also, in my office computer also, I have multiple copies of same paper. So we should try to avoid it, because it eats digital space, and at the same time, it just creates confusion, because sometimes we will highlight the paper, we will print the paper, we will upload in our this reference manager softwares. So many things, it will create problem. Okay. Then writing relevant annotations, whichever studies are really relevant. Okay. You write their details a bit, and then which study it is, what is the reference of that study or citation. Write down on your notebook. Make an habit. If you want to write a research funding coming season, because now it is closed for ANRF, right? Then you start working now. You start working on relevant literature. Find out the papers. Develop your this literature bank. So you can make use of this kind of tables for annotation, right? You can put the reference Gupta et al. 2012, what concept they term mega dams and this thing. What is the main idea? Main idea is that it's not every dam, it's the mega dams, so big dams which impact the sediment transportation, right? Some important things we can cite here. So you can create your own metrics. It may be Excel file, it may be doc, it may be pen and paper. Choice is yours. Then we go to third step in this one. Once you are doing your literature review, then you are going through the papers, right? We already have separated the papers based on our topics, right? Then some papers will be very good in helping you to create the introduction. Once you want to create your research question, those papers will be useful, right? Create your research paper, your research question, and around the question, remaining of the literature review will go, right? So make use of your literature right from identifying your research area to framing question to methodology to data, and you can separate them. Previously slide we talked, once we are talking about structure, you can theme-based classify those papers. Then inform your work with the theory. Always papers will provide all the backgrounds. Then final step is review it. Okay. So for that, we need to understand, I already gave you a kind of almost, I think, 10, 12, 14 points. The purpose of literature review and importance of literature review, right? So we need to, and then we should also know the purpose of we conducting research, and we conducting research around our topic. Then only we will be able to find out the relevant paper and cite them. Then ensure adequate coverage. That means all dimensions. Old paper, few. Recent paper, more. If you are working on global scale studies, try to see that majority of the bigger nation, not all the nation. We cannot cover 193 or maybe 200 nations, but major nations. If you are working on some particular compound of a particular thing, different aspects try to cover. Okay, broadly, it should show a balancing approach. Then writing purposefully. So always writing is a tough part, and you should spend enough time in the writing part. So this is the summary of these 4 aspects once we are working with the literature. Now, I just want to give you a kind of standard example. Now, you just look into this particular content here. Beach and Hannon, 2018, right? This is, we are ensuring that we are citing the literature, okay? And in our reference list or bibliography list, it should be there. Then provide the first estimate of mortality effect of British industrial coal use, showing 6 to 8% increase in infant mortality for above age. See, 2018, 2020, then 2020. We are following a sequence. You can even go 22, 24, 25, whatever, right? We can follow. And we are giving some statistics. Yeah, we are giving some what they have done, measurable improvement. What is the outcome or what is the consequence? Some kind of, we are not simply giving that Beach alone did this thing. No, we are going into in depth, and based on that one, we are trying to conclude something. So it's a standard example. Okay. Then we have a good example. So where we go more clear. Now, in the previous one, we started, but we did not give the context. Now, in this one, we are giving context. Recent studies confirm adverse health effect of energy-related pollution, right? And now we are building up. Notably, difference analysis by Beach, Hannon, and Young and Chow quantify increased infant mortality. And now you see, they are giving one part of the word, they are giving another part of the word. They talked about Britain, they will definitely talk about China. 2 different parts of the word, more balance, right? Then he 2020 employ instrumentation variable to show straw burning significantly worsen air quality, more in depth. Okay. However, limited research exists on the long-term benefits of renewable. So here we are trying to tell that, okay, so many bad health examples are there, but then we did not talk about benefits. Always there need to be negative side, positive side, right? So however, limited research exists on the long-term benefit of renewable energy initiative and their transformability of low resource setting. We are saying that if we go for this renewable energy, just remove CO2 emission or coal burning, we can get many benefits. It's health impact of coal burning is one side, but if we install a renewable, many more benefits will come. Then these gaps highlighted the need for context-specific interventions, continued methodological development, or then our study will start more detailed. This is just introduction. Okay, then you can develop entire body. Then bad example. So many researchers have written about air pollution. Why air pollution? In the good example, we talked about health issue. We given a context. Here, we just simply jump without giving any context. Then we are simply saying Batch and Helen studied coal use, but what is the outcome of that study? Whether it create air pollution, it create health hazard, we did not talk here. Then he 2020 wrote about straw burning, but then again, whether it impact human health or not, we are not talking. What is the efficiency? How much CO2 produces? We are not talking. Then Zhu and Wong looked at a fuel regulation. Now, simply without connecting each and other, we are just writing something. This is a very bad example of literature review, right? Okay, now we come to, once we are searching literature, I already pointed out certain things previously, but again, I can emphasize that define your terms. Keywords which you use, you are using normal keywords which everyone use, or in your field, you need to use technical terminology. Or sometimes you use keywords, then again, next time you go for more specialized, then more specialized. You have to choose how you want to search. Then search creatively, terminology, combination. we can make use of a note, no, note, or, okay, include, exclude. Variety of ways. A Boolean method is there where we make use of different this terminology, right? Then use the library. Many papers we cannot access here and there, or sometimes some old publications are there in the libraries which are not available here and there. Once I was PhD student, I used to go regularly library, but now things are changed. More better materials, or we can connect with the authors, we can ask their old research, and many things can be done. Okay, and research gates and Sci-Hub and many different websites are providing us a lot of literature. Then the journals which you are choosing, you have to be very careful. Then newspaper and magazines, if you are taking any information, you need to understand, is there any scope for political bias? If you're taking any information from news and magazine, at least go for 2, 3, 4 different news of the on same issue. So you will understand whether all are reporting same data or they are reporting different, because there's no other ways of verifying this information. So counter verification from newspaper or magazines. Okay. Then don't limit yourself to obvious sources. Obvious source is we just depend on Google Scholar always, or library always. People develop their habits. We should try to look differently. Google Scholar, one time you can go, other time you can go to directly to the website or Elsevier or Spinger website. Put your keywords, make different combination, you will be able to do much more better. So once we download our papers, so we have to go for evaluation and synthesis of the old downloaded paper. We have to thoroughly understand what paper we are reading. And once we read paper, if you find that this is not of your use in this research, put it aside, separate, remove from your list. Otherwise, you will keep reading useless paper time and again. Okay, so just mark them. Okay, they are least useful. Start with the most useful papers, right? So always see province, that means your author's credentials, author's argument and support by the evidence. Different school of thoughts are there. Which direction they are going, whether is the same direction you want to go, or it's opposite direction, but you want to counter it. You have to go understand these all things. Then what kind of methodology they have used, whether the methodology is really appropriate in the field of research. Compare 2, 3, 4 different authors is of the same topic. You will realize, okay, if they are using the same method or similar method, it's okay. Otherwise, you have to find out more appropriate papers, more appropriate methods. Then whether their research is always objective based, not subjective. Personal bias, personal choices don't work. So once we say objectivity in research, that means we put aside our personal biases, personal choices. We want to go around the topic without any assumptions, right? Biases. So we have to make sure that authors should not have bias. Then persuasiveness, how persuasive authors are there, how convincing their outcomes are. They just many time we find that people just write something. The interpretation of the data is not thorough. We have to look into that one. Then what value they are adding to your literature review bank. Whether this study which you have opted a paper is really adding some value, you keep it. If otherwise, discard it, keep it separate, delete it if not useful. Keeping too many papers and without use, it will confuse. So we can follow in evaluation, synthesis, and writing, we can follow this PQRS approach. What exactly it means? It follow preview, questions, reading, and summarization. So preliminary reading, I already told that we should read paper thoroughly. We should read paper multiple times. But first, once we download the paper, a cursory look is important. Just broadly try to understand title, who are the author, what is the abstract, what is the conclusion. This just a glance, it will give you a sense of that paper, whether it's useful or not. Second is question. Whether the question you want to address, whether this paper will help you to address that question or not. What do you need to find out, right? You need to know very well. Once you want to know, you have very clarity, then go around for similar kind of papers. Then reading, be active, search for the answer to the questions. You have defined a research question. You have to be very active. Then summarize, take selective notes. What we have seen many times, people just will copy entire paper. People will copy entire discussion section. No, don't copy. Just make a note of the important finding of that one in your notebook or in your doc file. Don't copy things because it will generate plagiarism or the content will be plagiarized, right? Make note, write in your own language. If you are even copying, copy, but then highlight it, that it's a copy, put into the citation marks. So you will be clear that this is copied. Now I have to rephrase it. I have to rewrite it. Then once we are doing this literature review, we can see this particular what is good for what. Okay. So broad overview, exploratory mapping we can do. So once you want to do a narrative or scoping review, for that one, just broadly understanding or some kind of papers you identify, it is good enough. If you want to go for a specific answer, focused question, then systematic review or meta-analysis will be helpful. Then if you are going for synthesizing diverse methodology, you are comparing different evolution, how things are evolved, different methods are evolved, different schools of thought evolved, then you have to go for integrative review. If you are going for this rapid evidence summary conclusion, you are in discussion part and quickly you want to get, you need to go for rapid review, find out very specific keys. You can type your entire one line and you are try to find what match exactly to you. Then you can go for evaluative analysis, research gaps. For that one, you need to go for critical review, read the paper thoroughly, right? So little all these details are provided here. Now, it's very important in literature review that which we say as a rule of thumb that there should be a source for every citation and a citation for every source. And if source is in your list, it should be cited somewhere. Okay, so once you are saying something, it should be backed up by something, right? And if you have a citation in your reference list, it should be cited somewhere. That we have to ensure. Okay. So we can quickly take some challenges and pitfall also. Sometimes there are so much research, millions of papers are there, right? So it becomes difficult. So it's always better that we separate papers separately for introduction part, methodology part, result discussion part, right? Conclusion part. In methodology also, if you want to conduct experiment, you separate out those papers. Too many paper reading uselessly, it confuses. And sometimes you decided one methodology, you are not able to find out and you will start with another methodology, but then outcome will be different because your question was different. Okay, so then stay organized. Now, so many digital platform, digital tools are there, which really help. And we can create a list of the papers, print and put on our desk and just see whether I read this paper, or you can have 10, 20, 30 papers list, put into the structure in organization, like which can be used. These are the chronological list. This is the list for theme-based pyramid broad paper. So you can decide how you will proceed. Okay. Then evaluating sources, good quality is always important. Then synthesize. If you will read paper actively, if you will put your heart and soul, definitely your synthesis will be good. Otherwise, it will be a trouble process. So some of the other pitfalls we can talk. Your over-reliance on outdated, low quality and irrelevant sources. I already pointed out predatory journals or papers which are least referred, not referred. Some papers are there which even after 10, 20, 30 years of publication, no one cited. If it's not really fitting in your criteria, ignore them. Okay. Lack of synthesis and critical analysis. This is a common problem with all of us, that we don't go in depth reading of the paper. We don't try to understand. And somehow we have got another problem. Our native language is different. And though we are doing everything in English, but then some gap is always there. We don't understand properly. Even we understand, expressing become problem. Then poor organization and these structures, we have this problem. Irrelevant and unfocused content. Too many papers you downloaded, but then you don't know how to make use of them. Okay. Then bias and ignoring contradictory evidences, weak introduction or conclusion, plagiarism, poor referencing. So many pitfalls are there if you are not well organized in the literature review. Now, quickly, we can go to the another part of this lecture, which is a small, not so lengthy, and time is also going along, which is about research note taking. So basically, what do we mean by note taking? It's a process of recording the information from various sources. In the literature, we are reading so many papers, and we have to capture that information. So that particular process is your note taking, right? So it helps us in understanding. It allows us to have a reflection. Two different paper, two different school of thought. We try to read, then we try to go for backward or forward snowballing, and same school of thought, we can compare which school of thought I have to go, which one is correct, which one is not correct, which fit to your research question. You can try to do. Future referencing also. Then it involves transcribing the information using shortening techniques. So we will show you some shortening methods, which tabulation of your information. Effective note taking is crucial for research paper, as it helps in gathering, synthesizing, and organizing the information from multiple sources. So for writing a research paper, writing a research proposal, writing a thesis, we refer so many papers and we get confused. So it's always important that we make note of what we have done and what we have observed and what are the sources. Then effective research note taking involves actively engaging with the material. Previous slide also I told that you have to be very active. Here also again I am emphasizing on activeness. So what are the strategies? We need to have active engagement. Read papers, read them thoroughly, download the paper or go to the website periodically. Like every month you decide one day that, okay, every 15th, every 1st, every 31st, I will browse the papers on my keywords. You just identify few keywords, just go around those keywords. So any advancement you will be getting. Okay, so it will help you to avoid duplication. It will help you to find out the emerging trends. Then prioritize the key information. Always research is having so many dimensions, but you have to always focus on your key point, because once you download the paper and you are interested, you will find so many diverging ways. Don't do that one. Okay. Then organize notes. Once you have a paper you are reading, keep the track of the information properly. Okay. There are multiple methods we can talk about. There's a cornell method. Okay. We'll talk about. Then outlining. Then we have charting. Then we have mind mapping, and then many more methods are there. I'm just focusing on 4 these methods, which are highly useful. So in cornell method, so we split our page into 3-4 parts. One part is your note taking column, where you will write the information. In other column, in your left hand side, you will write the cues. Cues means some phrases, some keywords about that particular. So that means which keyword you use to search that information, or what are the key terminology in this particular content is Q. Then you have summary, broader understanding of you. In the note taking, you will write what they have observed, what that study is about. And in the summary, you will write what exactly you understood from that research in your own word. Then we have this outlining method. So we have headings, subheadings, right? Same way, we can follow similar pattern here. We can create our own heading, subheading. In a research paper or in a thesis, we will have multiple chapters, multiple sections. For every section, we can have headings, subheadings, right? Like two subheadings, third level subheading, those all things can be there. So you decide, and then you systematically put the information and then record all the information or papers detail. Then you can go for charting method. So one topic you selected or one objective, whatever paper are related to that one, what they describe, what is their citation, what method they use, you can create a kind of table. Okay. Then we can go for mind map or mapping method. Here we have a central idea, and central idea has multiple sub branches. So for every branch, there's another source of supply. Now you just assume that I'm talking about water in the Hyderabad, right? So I can talk about municipal supply. I can talk about the rainfall. I can talk about the water bodies in Hyderabad. I can talk about the groundwater in Hyderabad, right? I can talk about the maybe the tankers or something, right? Different aspects can be covered, and then all together the secure water security in Hyderabad city is there, right? Or in other one, I can talk about global examples in one of the branch. So we have to decide how we have to proceed. Then there are so many digital platforms are there. You can make use of Microsoft and not right from Word, even PowerPoint, whatever you prefer, what you like. Sometimes some people prefer to make use of Excel also. It is your choice. But some of the popular one is your Microsoft OneNote. Then your Evernote is there. Your Notion is there. Your Google Keep is there. Google Keep is synchronized with the Google Workspace, right? So variety of digital your note-taking platforms are there. Then variety of your annotation softwares are there, right? Some already you had exposure, right from EndNote to Jotero to Mendeley to Hypothesis, RefWorks. So many softwares are there which can be used for that one. And you can, important thing that once you read a research paper, you can highlight, you can save, and you can upload here. So once you will open a paper from here, whatever you read, whatever way you read, you can refer it. Okay. Then there are some of the best practices in your note taking. So always we need to have a clear understanding. Once we are taking note, which paper we are reading, that paper has to be well screened. That okay, you start reading a paper, you started making a note, and later on you realize, oh, this is not relevant to me. Your efforts are wasted. Your pace is wasted. Your whatever you have done, right? Screening is very important. Then set your clear objectives and question. What you want to do from this particular paper. Okay. Then your organize tool, whatever tool, just previous 2 slides I have shown. You can choose many more tools are there. I am not showing because time is limited, right? Then choose the right method. Be active, not passive. In research, you being active plays major role. Then highlight the key information. Some of the keywords, you can always use a different color of pen. You can use different color of the symbols. Okay. Then review and revise. Reading, improving, writing. You can, for on one topic, you can create series of these notes. And if you start from day 1 to day 10 or day 30, you will yourself realize how you evolved, because once we read more, once we gain more knowledge, our evolution and synthesis will be more better. Then integrate with the research, collaborative and compare, and continuously improve. Keep writing, keep improving. It's a continuous. There's no what we can say, no alternate to it. So if just we want to summarize, we talked about literature review and we discussed various aspects of the literature review. And in research, literature review is one of the important step. It itself is a step, and then it is connected with every step. Then once you read your papers, making note of them. You can choose your way, right? I don't have a habit of making a note, because initially I used to have, but now our purpose is different. We just ask our student, okay, you read paper and make a note or tell me which is important paper, right? Because our role is changed. Once our role is changed, we will do things differently. But then making note or making whether you are using variety of the tools I showed or pen or paper, choice is yours. But always keeping information, not losing, it's very important. So with this one, I finish my lecture, and I quote that a research cannot perform significant research. A researcher cannot perform significant research without first understanding the literature in the field, right? Whatever is being done, whatever should not be done, how it is done, who has done, all those information will come from literature only. Okay, so with this one, I thank the organizers. So if any question, I will be happy to discuss.
Uh, Any question from the participants? Any questions from the participants?
Oh, no.
I guess there are no questions, sir.
Yeah, so maybe
your
either
lecture
I was so good or so bad, I don't know.
so your lecture was so clear that they have no doubts at all.
I hope.
So then I will take my time to deliver vote of thanks for today's insightful lecture on the importance of conducting a literature review and note taking. So, on behalf of AV College, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Gupta for sharing his valuable time, experience, and knowledge with us. Sir, your lecture has provided us with a deeper understanding of the art of literature review. So, the clarity with which you have explained the purpose, the structure, and the methods of conducting a literature review, and how to organize it, and getting the sources and knowing the credibility of the sources, it was very commendable. And also, you have explained with examples, which we always come across when we are doing it. So it was very commendable. So once again, I thank you for enlightening us with your expertise. And
Okay,
also,
thank you.
we look
Thank you very
forward to
much.
much more sessions in the future, sir.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am. So I just discussed with Jagan Garu that on MOOCs or these courses, we can something we can do physically more is more better always.
Yes, yes, sir. Always the physical one is better.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and thanks for being so good participant that we did not have much distraction also. And I thank
Yes.
again the organizer as well as Jagan Garu for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with all of you. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. I, Dr. A. Jaganmohan Reddy, Head Department of Chemistry and convener of this 5-day FDP conducted in a blended mode at AV College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Gaganmahal, Hyderabad. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all dignitaries for this valedictory session of FDP on research, documentation, fundamentals, tools, and ethics, held from 28th July to 2nd August 2025. This FDP was jointly organized by TLC in collaboration with the Research Development Committee. It marks a significant milestone in our academic journey as AV College stepped into a new era of autonomy in the academic year 2025 and 26. The sessions were thoughtfully designed in a blended mode and spread across 5 impactful days. Day one, that is 28th July 2025, we began with an insightful offline and online session inaugurated by Dr. Raju Reddy Garu from Osmania University. He delivered a comprehensive lecture on the fundamentals of research methodology and highlighted the importance of structured documentation in laying the foundation for quality academic research. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable presence and enlightening talk. Second day, that is 30th July 2025, Dr. Rajini Madam Garu from Pune University expertly guided participants through the process of writing research papers and thesis. Her session bridged the gap from data collection and drafting, offering practical strategies for academic writing. Thank you very much, madam, for your valuable contribution. Third day, that is 31st July 2025, Dr. Kiran Kumar Reddy Garu from Thiruvananthapuram, Tamil Nadu, introduced various citation styles and digital tools for reference management. His session equipped participants with the essential skills for managing bibliographic uh, effectively and ethically. Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful session. Day 4, that is 1st August 2025, Dr. Shankar Garu from Bangalore University elaborated on publication ethics and the publishing process in reputed journals. Thank you very much, sir, for your enlightening session. Fifth day, that is today, 2nd August 2025, Dr. Harish Gupta Garu from Osmania University concluded the series with a valuable session on literature review techniques and note taking strategies. His inputs provides clarity and evaluating existing research and organizing information systematically. Thank you very much, sir, for your support and presence. This FDP has been extremely beneficial for researchers and faculty members aiming to build a sustainable research ecosystem through practical tools, ethical awareness that enhance the overall quality of academic research. I sincerely thank Dr. Harish Gupta Garu for his continued guidance in planning this FDP and for delivering today's valedictory session. Sir also took the initiative to arrange all the resource persons. I deeply appreciate his unwavering commitment. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. My heartfelt gratitude to our respected correspondent, Dr. Gautami Madam Garu, for her constant encouragement and visionary leadership. Her unwavering support motivates us to organize impactful academic innovatives such as seminars, workshops, FDPs, etc. Special thanks to Venela Garu, Head Department of Public Administration and co-convener of this FDP for her tirelessness efforts. It is very thankful to you, madam. And I also express my sincere uh, appreciation to our principal, Dr. C.H. Rajlingam Garu, Vice Principal, Dr. Padma Garu, our Director, Gopikrishna Garu, and for their constant encouragement and support throughout this FDP program. I extended my thanks to Manjula Madam Garu, HOD Physics, for suggesting blended mode for this FDP. My special thanks to organizing committee from the TLC, Teaching Learning Center, Vijayalakshmi Madam Garu, Department of Physics, then Renu Mathur Garu, Department of Commerce, the backbone of our FDP and hospitality for this FDP. Then here, my special thanks to Anita Madam Garu, Department of Biotechnology, and Chandrasekhar Garu, Department of Botany, for support with what you call stage arrangements and etc. And my special thanks to Research and Development Committee, Dr. Narsaraj Garu, Lecturer, Department of Commerce, and Dr. Rishita Reddy Garu, Department of Commerce. Your collective efforts have significantly contributed to the success of this FDP. I sincerely hope that this 5-day FDP has been uh, enriching, engaging for all participants. Let us continue to foster a culture of meaningful research, ethical scholarship, and academic excellence. Thank you once again for your active participation, cooperation, and enthusiasm throughout this program. Let us move forward with a renewed inspiration and a strong research mindset. Thank you. Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I sincerely thank everyone for their participation and enthusiasm. The link for the feedback will be posted in the chat box. I request everyone to kindly fill the feedback. And the certificates will be issued shortly within a period of 10 to 12 days. And participants having 75% of attendance will receive the certificates. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. I request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback. The link is posted in the chat box.